Hi everybody, I'm High Priestess Awesome Phoenix and welcome to Weekly Witch Chat. I know it's been a long time since I've been on here, but I've been busy with my coven obligation that I do full time now. So let me first of all tell you where you can connect with me on social media. My Facebook page is Magically Blessed. My Instagram page is autumn_phoenix1. My YouTube channel is Autumn Phoenix. My Periscope channel is Autumn Phoenix. And my Twitter handle is Priestess Autumn. Tonight, we're going to talk about, is the craft actually right for you? Should you be actually practicing witchcraft? Are you meant to do this? It can be a very hard decision to be open or not about your craft, especially when it comes to the people in your life. Some people have, of course, reservations about witches and about witchcraft. The people around you might think your craft is just you going through a phase, or you're trying to be edgy or cool, or magic is just plain fantasy. Magic is very, very real, by the way. As uncomfortable as it is, there are people in your life who have direct influence over your quality of life. These people can be your parents, of course, your spouses, your friends, your boss, and that co-worker that is always snitching on everybody else. That co-worker, you know what I'm talking about. That co-worker that needs to be punched in the damn face. Maintaining harmonious relationship with these people can make your life easier, and it may not be worth your peace of mind to rock the boat. Now, when it comes to your co-workers, who gives a shit what your co-workers think? They're going to talk about you anyway, and truly speaking, they don't directly affect your life anyway because they're not living with you. And if you have a boss that is an asshole anyway, he's not an asshole when you're in your own home, so it doesn't directly affect him either, or her either. Besides, you would not be talking about being a witch around people who you know for a fact are not going to approve. And like I always say, because I always keep it real, it's none of your damn business what I do or what I don't do. And witches that come into the craft have to have that same attitude too. It's really nobody's business what you do, who you do it with, how you're doing it, when you're doing it, or why you're doing it. When you become a witch, you have to have tough skin, because there are a lot of tough people out there that are going to try to punk you, bully you, walk all over you, or call your craft fantasy. And like I said earlier in the broadcast, magic is very, very real. There are pros and cons about practicing witchcraft openly. Now listen, I'm from New York City. I was born and raised here. We have a large community of witches here. But that does not mean we can always be out in the open. Even when we have Pagan Pride Day that will be taking place in September 28th here, well, not here, but in Manhattan, we still have restrictions of what we can do out in the public. We are still subject to arrest or ticket. So it does not matter if you have a large witch community or not. The police can still get that ass. Okay? There are some benefits that come with this choice to practice witchcraft, but it's not right for everybody though. The benefits of practicing comes from the form of, well, one benefit that you have by openly practicing witchcraft is the form of community. When you are open about your craft, other people can connect with you and connect you with other witches, priests, priestesses, and you won't ever feel alone. You're free to, pursue witchy meetups, just like I just said with Pagan Pride Day in September. And we have another event coming up this Friday on the 13th. Witch Fest in Manhattan. You have a form of community and you won't be outed. Nobody will yell, "Oh, she's a witch." Nobody will yell that to you. Nobody will blurt it out loud because they're witches too. So you don't have to worry about, your cover being blown. This is such a powerful benefit. Many people underestimate how wonderful community is among witches. It is so important for this particular spiritual path because witches are the most prosecuted people in the world. Don't get it twisted. It's not the Christians, it's not the Jews, it's not the Muslims, it's witches. A lot of stories about witches being attacked and killed do not go report it in the public media outlets. So that's why I also stress for witches to protect themselves, carry a gun, carry a knife, learn how to fight hand-to-hand combat, learn how to do something, anything to protect yourself from crime, because we are the most prosecuted people in the United States. This is a fact. I can show you a whole stack of emails, comments, messages from other witches that come to me for help and advice to protect themselves. You have to know how to protect yourself as a witch, especially if you decide to go solitary. That's why community among witches is so powerful. The benefit also includes not having to censor yourself. You can be yourself. As a witch, you can't be anything fake. Other witches will pick up on the fakeness in a second. Especially if that witch is a Scorpio like me. I'll know. When everyone knows that you are a witch, you are, you can mention it casually. You can just say it and nobody will look at you like you're a jackass. You don't have to worry that people are going to be whispering behind your back. You don't have to worry about your cover being blown. This allows for peace of mind for those with accepting friends and family, of course. Another benefit, and I believe that this is very important, another benefit is the ability to have your craft out in the open, literally out in the open. Altars, crystals, tarot cards, and personal symbols can be kept out in the open and be used to decorate your living space without being asked questions about it. Especially if you live alone. If you live alone, you have free reign. If you live alone, you have free free reign to decorate however witchy you want your spot to be. If you live in a house alone and you don't have neighbors on either side of you, like if you live in an isolated area, do whatever. Nobody is going to call the police on you. Nobody is going to be spreading your name around the neighborhood. None of that. Now, there are pros and cons of practicing secretly. This is usually when you are solitary. Keeping your craft close to you and private has a lot of benefits though. It does have a lot of benefits. Not the least of which is that it is traditional. It is traditional to keep the craft to yourself. But you don't have to follow tradition. You're not obligated to follow traditions. We are in 2019. You can change things up to suit your craft, to suit what best works for you. Keeping your craft secret can add power to your magical workings simply by nobody knowing that you are working magic. Because, like I said earlier, it's nobody's business anyway. If you're working in private, then nobody will counter your spells. Because if you do it, sometimes you might have a witch that is a hater, and if they see that you are doing a spell for prosperity, they may try to counter your spell. So one benefit is nobody will know what your magical workings is because you are working alone. You know, being secret affords us as witches a kind of freedom in the craft that can be hard to achieve any other way. When you keep your craft to yourself, you never have to answer questions. You don't have to explain your beliefs. You never have other witches telling you that you're doing this right or you're doing this wrong. Nobody will be the witch police, because as witches, we already know you can't tell another witch what to do in their craft, because the craft is different for everybody that practices it. No two witches are the same. Every witch is different. All of us. This will free your mind to, you know, explore the variety of the craft that feels most genuine to you. Privacy also means, and it's sad to say this, it is sad to say this, what I'm about to say, but secrecy, privacy also means, for some witches, especially new witches, it also means safety. It's a relief to not have to worry about whether or not your life will be turned inside out because the wrong person found out about your craft. The wrong person can be your parents or your spouse or your friend or your boss or your co-worker. The same people I mentioned earlier. You can practice right under the noses of the most intolerant people without being suspected of being a witch. You can make your craft look so mundane. You can make your craft look so ordinary. You can make your craft look like arts and craft. And you don't need a whole lot of tools to do witchcraft. In fact, you need no tools to be a witch. But that information is only available for the members of my coven, which I do still have membership open. So if any of you are interested in joining my coven, drop a comment below. Privacy, oh sorry, the light went off for a minute. Also, privacy means having a sense of loneliness. Privacy also means being lonely sometimes. Not all the time, especially if you work with different gods and goddesses and your ancestors too. When nobody knows of your craft, you lose all potential outlets to discuss and get, valuable feedback, unfortunately. So that means you are going at it alone. You are solitary. When you are private, you may miss out on many of the things that still do draw people to witchcraft. Let me say this again. Sometimes when you choose to go solitary, you miss out on a lot of things that draw people to witchcraft in the first place. That, witchy vibe becomes harder to achieve without arousing suspicion. You can't keep books about witchcraft out in the open, especially if you live with somebody who does not like witchcraft, or you live with a hardened Christian or a hardened Jew or a hardened Muslim. I don't see any way that you can practice witchcraft if you live with those type of people that are very strict in their, truly speaking, false religion. There's only one, and that's spirituality, and Wicca is at the head of it. Let me just put that out there. But like I said, a lot of witch stuff can be disguised as artwork. Now listen, which way is right for you to go? Let me tell you just like this. You are not required to be open about your craft with everybody. You are not required to be open about your craft with everybody. It may suit you best to tell a few, trusted friends or trusted family members or trusted co-workers, but keep the craft mostly for yourself, because you're the one that's working with it or working within it. If you cannot practice witchcraft openly without your physical safety, your food security, your housing situation, or your job situation being put in jeopardy, then don't tell anybody. Keep it entirely to yourself. Silence is golden. Keep yourself safe among everything else. The God and the goddess would never want you to be homeless, to be without a house, to be without food. So truly speaking, to answer that question earlier, is the craft right for you? The answer is yes. The craft is right for everybody. Anybody can be a witch. Anybody. But you have to think long and think hard about if you should be open or should you be closed. And there is a lot of safety in covens. Most covens now are online, like mine is, because I have some people from not just here in America but around the globe. The craft is entirely your own business and nobody else's. But please keep yourself safe. Do not put yourself in a situation where every area of your life is in jeopardy of collapsing. Now let me tell you again where you can find me on social media. Facebook, Magically Blessed. Instagram, Autumn_Phoenix1. YouTube, Autumn Phoenix. Periscope at Autumn Phoenix. And Twitter at Priestess Autumn. Thank you guys for joining me for this week's weekly witch chat, and I will be speaking to you all shortly. Bye everybody.